Yes. I guess we have arrived then. I am here.
You are here. Welcome to my basement. This is the WakeUp Show, and by the looks of it, you're awake. Read in the paper this other day that the talk shows seems to be going out of fashion, and I beg to differ. They're just watching the wrong talk shows, you know. Get on with the WakeUp Show. This is the new thing. This is the next thing. People are tired of the old stuff. They're ready for the new stuff. And the new stuff. The new guy. Welcome, new guy. It's been there's something about the plague. It just seems to never end. Like we've been in this strange stasis now for well over a year, and then it's like, you know, no, it's gonna start loosening up now real soon. Just wait for it. And I guess we're getting impatient. Is it a test, do you think? Will we fail or pass this test? I don't know. Exciting. As always, I try to stay centered and remember that it is up to you to decide whether something is a gift or a curse. And if you label it a curse, it's going to haunt you. And if you tell it's a gift, then you can do something about it. With it, I guess would be more appropriate to say. This is day 24 of Ramadan. I have not eaten or had anything to drink since last night around like 11:30 p.m. I think. So I'll be breaking the fast here on the show with my wonderful guests. Which brings me to maybe stop sitting here on a rug in the basement just talking to myself, to you guys. I think we should just run the intro.
Live from the Dream, aka Drummond, it's the WakeUp Show with your host, Wolf Thunder Flitty.
Yes, hello. I am Wolf Thunder Flitty. We are broadcasting live from the Dream. I think on my lower third it says a dreamer within a dreamer within a dreamer, which is sort of like a reference to the movie Inception. I'm not going to talk about Inception today, so I have no idea why they put that on the lower third. Between you and me, it's I who make the lower thirds, so this is just nonsense. But if you like this sort of nonsense, I got a little thing called Patreon. Patreon.com/The WakeUp Show, where you can go in and support the show. And you get the full ULF experience and also the joy of helping me create this magical reality called my life. Our last episode of the ULF experience, which actually ties in well with Ramadan because I was doing a 7-day silent fast for peace. Didn't we make like a promo clip for that? Is it still around? Or maybe I didn't put it in there.
I can find it if you want.
Yeah, then we'll save it for later and we'll find it. But the last one, the last episode of the ULF experience is me experiencing not eating and not talking for 7 days. And the world did become a much more peaceful place, for me at least. Now, I think it's time for me to break the fast my favorite way, which I do every Thursday, is with cacao from Criollo, which is the local cacao bar or chocolate bar, I believe he calls it, here in the Dream. They have delicious, organic, vegan, non-refined white sugar, delicious stuff that you can go and enjoy here, right here in the Dream. And obviously, if you are so unfortunate as to not be living the Dream, I don't feel sorry for you, then you can order their products on ecochocolate.no. Now I will have a small sip of this because it smells delicious. And tastes heavenly. So Criollo, a chocolate bar in the Dream. And if you go there, order the Wake Up Show special. Yeah. Then you get my flavor of cacao. It's got some chili in it, I think, or something like that. Great stuff. Okay, we have a wonderful show here tonight, as always. I have a wonderful guest whom I never met before today, or maybe we have met sort of like in passing, but he is a fellow dreamer. He is a wonderful human being, and I'm so much looking forward to getting to know him. So I think just welcome into the studio, Carl-Henrik.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Yeah, thanks.
I would hug you, but there's a plague. And,
yeah, that was... yeah, you're a hugger as well.
I am a hugger.
Yeah, me too.
I miss hugs, man.
Yeah, I miss hugs as well. We're fortunate to be able to hug our dear ones, our kids, and
yes,
our wives.
I think without them, I would wither up and die. If you couldn't hug anyone for like a full year.
Yeah,
crazy.
But yes, I also miss hugging strangers.
Yeah, hugging strangers. That sounds like a great activity. Actually, we should do that more when
the plague's over.
When the plague is over, yes. On your lower third, it says something around about that you are a dreamer because you are here from the dream.
Yeah,
you're an entertainer.
Yeah.
And a soccer player?
No, not a soccer player, but I'm a soccer lover.
Oh, soccer lover.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's on me.
Yeah.
Ah. But you still do play soccer occasionally, right?
No, actually, I
never played soccer?
I did, but I tore my ACL. You know the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So and they were supposed to fix it at the hospital, and they made it worse instead. So ever since then, it's only been cross-country skiing for me.
Well, it's a bit more of a scenic experience than the soccer field, I guess.
Yeah, and I think I'm a better cross-country skier than I was a football or a soccer player. Also,
yes.
so.
I guess it's football and soccer is the same thing.
Yeah.
But you and I am in love with the United States, and then it just seems appropriate to say soccer, right. You know, so as to avoid the American football, which I believe is the
I've never played that.
Sport.
Never played American football.
Me neither. So great to have you on the show. Do you want a date?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Because I've learned through this Ramadan thing that I'm on that dates is sort of like the thing to kick your system off when you break the fast. I think maybe I have a clip from the other day. I was breaking the fast with a Muslim family. We can break the fast with them. Something like that.
Here you are. Yeah. The time is...
The time is right.
Yes. Yeah. And the date is there.
Yeah. And the date is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm start with the date.
Yeah.
As a tradition.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
You have dates also there.
There's on both sides.
Yeah.
Sonrasında.
Öyle mi?
Sonrasında.
Well, they're eating dates, we're eating dates. It's time travel, man. They're so delicious.
Yeah, I think I've never eaten them this way before. I've only eaten them with, bacon around as you get it in the tapas shops.
Oh, I completely forgot about the bacon. But as I live a semi-vegetarian life, bacon isn't that much of a thing anymore.
Oh, I was actually believed until I was, I think, 22 years old that I didn't like bacon. So for all the occasions when there was bacon around, eggs and bacon,
you just didn't
burger
have the bacon?
with a bacon on it, I was like, no thanks, no bacon for me. I don't like bacon. And I was coming home from playing with my rock band at the time, coming home from Valdres. We were driving back to Oslo and stopped at the gas station, and everybody was getting a burger, and everyone was getting cheeseburger with bacon, and I said no, only cheese, no bacon for me. And all the other guys in the band was like,
you're not having bacon?
You're not having bacon? No, I don't like bacon. And they were like,
You gotta try the bacon.
Yeah, and that was the first time I ate bacon when I was like 22 years old. Wow. At a gas station, and I haven't looked back since.
Changed your life.
Yeah, and I felt like a complete idiot for living 22 years thinking I didn't like bacon.
Had the same thing with olives and beans.
Beans, yeah.
I was like, I don't like beans. And then for some strange reason, at our wedding, we'd ordered beans.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I might as well eat beans. And I was like, this is delicious.
Yeah.
That's what I've been on about. And I guess the olives was because the first time I ate them, I thought it was going to taste like grapes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't taste like grapes at
Definitely
all.
don't,
So it's sort of that stuck with me. But now I love olives. Such a
I was also quite old before I learned how to like olives. I just probably 5, 6, 7 years ago or something.
It's fairly fresh.
Yeah, I don't think I ate it before I met my wife. I didn't eat sushi either before I met my wife, so I missed out on a lot of great food experiences.
Well, you have them now.
I have them.
So you
now.
haven't missed out. You just experienced them when the time was right.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I try to when you get that feeling, oh man, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
And then to sort of see if I can't sort of shift it towards like, but wait, I wasn't ready then. Had this thing, I have 4 children.
Yeah.
And the 4th child, I received the baby.
Okay.
And when I did, I was like, why didn't I do this every time? This is insanely cool.
Yeah.
This is like I'm a part of something that in a completely different way. But I was not at all ready the other 3 times. But now I was.
Yeah, I've got 2 children, 2 boys, and I didn't cut the, what do you call the...
the umbilical cord?
Yeah, on the first one. And I was asked to do it on the second one, and I was really like... I don't... let's face it, it's not like a delicious sight.
No, it's not.
But I'm very glad that I had that 2 seconds where I actually was able to reflect on, this is probably the last chance I'll ever have doing this.
Yeah, it's not something that comes along like daily. Would you like to cut the umbilical cord over here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. I've got nothing else to do right now.
Right.
So
I have some scissors.
So so I cut it the second time, and I'm very glad I did.
Yeah. That's interesting. So you are a fellow dreamer. Did you grow up in this wonderful place to dream?
I did, but I moved to Tønsberg when I was 7 years old, I think, with my mom and my sister. My dad's from the Dream and has been living here all the time, and so I would travel to him in the weekends, and I actually lived a couple of years at 7th grade and 8th grade at school, moving back to Tønsberg, a couple of years in Oslo.
That's a bit back and forth there,
and a couple of years in Oslo after I finished high school, and then I've been living in Drammen since 2011.
Yeah, I moved here 2010.
Yeah.
So we've been here, I didn't live here before that, that's true. But I was ready for the dream then.
Yeah, you were ready for it?
Yes,
What brought you to the dream?
Well, that's very strange. We were expecting our first child.
Yeah.
And then we were like, or I was sort of like, well, having growing up in the city, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, well, growing outside of the city also sounds maybe a bit more like
sensible, or
sensible. Yeah, that's the word. And then we started like looking outside of the city, and we were like, well, where do we move outside of the city? I'm from Trondheim. I know nothing of this place. And we had some friends who'd moved east, and we had some friends who'd moved different places, but we were expecting. And someone said like, well, you want to move closer to the grandparents.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that you're going to need help from in the coming years. And
Definitely.
My wife's parents lived in Bærum, And I was like, I can't afford Bærum. And then we started looking like, and then we found a Dream. And it's like, so just by going over Lier and then it's like half off. I'm like, wow, that's fairly nice, because I wanted to I wanted to work less.
Yeah.
Because I was a workaholic, and that's not very sustainable, especially when you have children.
No.
So I thought, okay, the Dream is relatively far away from Oslo, so maybe I can work less. And then I asked Håvard Lilleheie, I was working with him at the time, and he was like, the Dream is like the best place in the world. You want to live there. If you want to live there. And before I even managed to think about it, he started finding places. You can live here, you can live there. Yeah. And it's like, I talked to this guy, and maybe he'll sell a house to you. And you don't want to live in this area, but want to live in that area.
Yeah.
So we looked at some places, and we found a place that we liked. And I haven't looked back since. I fell in love with this place.
Yeah, and you probably came at the right time, because it's been in a great development those
true.
years. Both the couple of years before that and also a couple of years after.
Yeah.
So it's become a great city, and still got some potential to further develop. I think the cultural scene could use a lift.
Well, I'm doing my part,
doing your part
by having a talk show in the Dream.
We're both, I guess.
And you are also, because you are an entertainer and a musician, and that's important. And you're a dreamer.
I'm a dreamer.
What makes people a dreamer? I was wondering, what dreams? What are dreams? I was sort of wondering about that. And when I wonder about something, I go out into the Dream and ask my fellow dreamers. What are dreams?
What are dreams?
Yeah?
No. Dreams is, wow. It's too much, Everybody has too much dreams. And
think you wish could happen, for example.
Yeah.
Or things that have happened. Good things and bad things.
Dreams are stupid fantasies, mostly.
What are your dreams?
I'm too old to have dreams now. I prefer to quote Winston Churchill, facts are better than dreams.
Okay, interesting. What are your dreams?
Oh, have a happy life with my family and kids. Yeah.
Freedom to go out. Don't be locked in as we do now.
Yeah, that makes sense in this day and age. I see your point.
My dreams is Corona forsvinner.
Corona gone?
Go back. Yes. And I can meet everyone.
My dreams, I have everything I want. Like I have my dogs, I have a kennel, I have everything I want. So
you're set?
Yeah. So that was my dream, and I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, man.
Thank you, man.
The Dream.
Yeah, the Dream.
What are dreams? And this is, I realize this is a very broad question, because you dream them at night, which seems to be where this idea comes from.
Yeah.
But then we typically talk about dreams when we have set some goals for our lives.
Yeah.
Which typically don't involve mowing the lawn or taking out the garbage. What are your dreams, man?
Oh, they tend to develop. I thought about it before coming here. What my dreams are, what my dreams used to be. I grew up wanting to be a famous soccer player, playing for Manchester United in England. I dreamed about being a rock star. I've dreamt about a lot of different things during my life, and what I've found is that some of them are like unrealistic dreams.
Yes.
And I think everybody needs to have them. I think it's it
without them, the thing would just wither and die, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah. It gives us some, like, I think that everybody can get some positive energy out of having those unrealistic dreams.
Yes.
That gives you that small glimpse of hope that maybe one day, like, you don't pay for the lottery ticket because you have a realistic goal or a realistic dream of
it's 1 to like 15 billion the chances of winning. Yes,
but you do it because you like the dream, you like the idea of imagine what I could do if. And I think that with some of those dreams that I had through the years, I think when, you know, being a kid wanting to play for Manchester United, it was a naive dream to have. But some dreams I've worked more, I've tried to work towards in some way.
Yeah, to make the dream into a goal and then sort of work towards it.
Yeah, like, for instance, being able to live 100% doing my music.
Yeah.
It's always been a dream. And it used to be playing in a rock band. I had black hair, I have tattoos still.
You really looked the part.
I looked the part, yeah. But I found that during my life tends to take some twists and turns that I didn't foresee coming.
Yeah.
And like, I was studying to be a sound engineer. I wanted to work in the studios as a sound engineer, to produce music as a music producer, and then have my rock band on the side, touring the world and coming back home and produce some records and go touring the world with my rock band. And during that that year, I figured out, well, I find it interesting to produce music, to write music, but I'm more interested in singing into the mic myself than knowing the mathematics on why their sound.
Yeah.
So, and during that year, I discovered I was planning to make an EP record with my rock band or my solo.
An EP, that's like 4 songs?
Yeah, 4 or 5 songs.
4 or 5 songs, yeah.
With my solo project, which was a rock band at the time, and I just like days or a couple of weeks before the studio session, I had gathered some friends that were going to play drums and bass and guitar and do the backing vocals, but I've done everything. I was doing everything else, and they one after one they just jumped off the project. Just a couple of weeks before we were going into the studio, and I was finding myself at the time like, well, what do I do now? I've always felt at that point I'd always felt that I was the most ambitious one in all the band projects that I've been up to that point, and that was the reason why I started the solo project, so I wouldn't have anyone keeping me back. And then it still happened.
It still happened, yeah.
So I was so fed up with that whole thing, and I went to a jam session, and I guess this was just after Christmas, and I'd been listening to Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, and Dean Martin during the Christmas, the Rat Pack, and I went to that jam session, and I was where I was a regular guest, and I used to do all these rock tunes, old hair rock 80s stuff, and then I said to the jam host, no, actually today I want to do some jazz, I want to do some crooning, I want to do Have You Met Miss Jones, and
that's a nice song.
And I did, and the jam host then afterwards he came over to me and said, dude, you just cut your hair and buy a suit. This is what you're meant to be doing.
Right,
and it grew on me, and that was one of those twists. I thought I was supposed to be in a rock band.
Then all of a sudden,
but from all of a sudden, from that time on, I got rid of my worn out jeans and leather jackets and Kiss t-shirt. Or I didn't get rid of them, but I stopped wearing them. And I bought shirts and ties and suits, and I got myself a hat, and I started living that part as a crooner. And suddenly I was like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And and there's been a series of those kinds of events where I thought my life was supposed to be this, and then suddenly something happens and it turns out, no, that's not it. It's supposed to be this.
It's going this way. You know, I'm currently reading for my children the book The Alchemist.
Okay.
And in The Alchemist, in this book, I read it before, and then I thought this is a perfect children's book because it talks about daring to sort of pursue your dreams.
Yeah.
But then it's this key thing, which it talks about a lot, is like, listen to the signs.
Yeah.
You know, when that guy came over to you and said like, well, this is your thing, man.
Yeah.
That's sort of like, you could have obviously ignored him.
Yeah.
And so, no, I know
I'm a rock
guy. Like,
yeah, look at my hair.
But he had some insights.
Yeah.
And you took note of that, and it changed your path. And I really like how it's sort of like, if you're staying sort of present and listening to sort of like your surroundings, and most importantly, of course, listening to yourself.
Yeah.
These twists and turns tend to become more pleasurable. Because then you're sort of like in for the ride.
You're in
sort
for
of
the
like
ride,
holding on for dear life. Where is this going? It's a crazy ride, man.
Yes.
But I like that, and it's just like all of a sudden it's something completely different.
Yeah, you know, it's like the roller coaster rides is much more fun if you feel free to put your hands up in the air.
Yes.
And just go with it.
Right.
Instead of holding on for dear life. And I think that when it comes to, I think life and your dreams goes hand in hand if you're able to do just that. Throw your hands up in the air and just go with it. And sometimes your life will take you towards your dreams, I think. And other times your new dreams will appear on that road. And that's for some time I used to before I got very disappointed whenever I felt I wouldn't be able to reach my goals or achieve my dreams.
Didn't go the way you thought it would, right? Yeah. I can relate.
Yeah. But I think at the same time, though I've had so many experience of good things coming out of me letting myself be go with the flow and just be open-minded to the changes that comes around. And so I've tried not to I still get very disappointed by the small things.
That's strange, right?
Yeah.
But
the big things, it's the small things that puts me off.
Yeah, I know.
That workout session that I didn't have time for, it could like knock me out for days. I can get so angry and frustrated. But me not performing in front of 40,000 people, it's like, well, that just didn't happen, or maybe it will at some point. But I'm fine with it not happening as well, because I've had some great experience along the way.
Yeah. You know, it's... have you seen the children's movie Up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the greatest... It's such a wonderful movie, and such a wonderful moment is when he has this book that he's going to fill with the adventures with him and his wife.
Yeah.
But they never get to do their adventures.
No. Yeah.
And then all is lost, like he's messed up big time and he's sitting there all alone in this messed up house in nowhere. And then he's like flipping and through the book, and it turns out that his wife has filled it with their experiences and their adventures.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the things that he imagined them to be. So as it turns out, his life was an adventure. He just didn't know because he was so preoccupied with like, our adventure is going to be that we go to South America and live there. And that didn't happen. And I think that's such an important life lesson, is sort of like, set goals for your life. And I would argue set unrealistic goals.
Yeah.
Like, because I think something that I really like is like the safest way to mediocrity is being realistic.
Yeah.
and so why wouldn't you be unrealistic? Because that's the only way to get somewhere. Like Elon Musk wants to go to Mars.
Yeah.
That's not very realistic, is it?
No.
But you're not going to get there by being like, well, that's not going to go.
No. I don't think. I don't think that. I don't think that there's a lot of people who has achieved big goals who only had realistic dreams or goals.
But then that's like the second thing, which I thought you like pointed so greatly at, is like, but you have to be open for that it shifts and it changes and it twists and it turns.
Yeah.
Because you can sort of set your goal, but you have to be open for the road to become very all over the place.
Yeah.
And at the same time, sort of like, if you don't have a goal, then you're just wandering around here waiting, I don't know, for death or something like, okay, so I guess it's for like 50 more years and then I'll get to go to the great hereafter or something. I don't know. It's so I make this show because I dreamt about making this show. And I worked in television for many years behind cameras, in the editing rooms, and didn't think I had anything to do in front of a camera. But I love being in front of the camera. I love doing this. And if you'd asked me 5 years ago, do you think you'd want to be like a talk show? I'd say, well, that's crazy, man. Why would I do that? And now I am. Because it's a roller coaster, man. And it's crazy cool.
Yeah, and you can still have the same goals, but you have to be open-minded that the way to get there doesn't necessarily have to be the way you plan it to be or the way you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So sometimes your goals shifts, your dreams shifts along the ride, and sometimes you have the same goals, but the road to get there is going to be different than the way you thought.
Yes. Trust the path. I like that. That's like I remind myself daily, trust the path.
Yeah.
And also like, if you want to get to the top of the stairs, you have to take each step.
Yeah.
But you don't have to plan all the steps. You can just take the steps and then sort of trust that you will get where you're going because you set your intention.
Yeah.
And then sort of trust that this place, this universe, this experience isn't sort of like this evil thing plotting against you.
No. It isn't.
It isn't. And you've been on stage, I know, many times, and I remember at this one point where I realized that if you go up on stage and think like, all the people in the audience are just waiting for me to fail, you're going to have like a really rough time.
Yeah.
But that's never true.
No.
People in the audience
are
rooting for you.
Yeah.
And they always are. Even the guy at the back who's like screaming some obnoxious thing, he is still rooting for you.
Yeah.
And if you go out on stage with that sort of mindset, even though you're scared shitless, you're still sort of like, you have your tribe, you have your people with you because you're not alone sort of waiting to be thrown out to the wolves.
No.
And I think that's sort of like, at least for me, helps me on my wonderful journey through life.
Yeah, I've never had stage fright, so I kind of, but I'm always, and I'm never actually very nervous either. But I try to remind myself I kind of always feel the excitement because it means so much for me to give the people who's paid their hard-earned money to come see a show, either if it's to watch me or if I'm a hired gun with a big band or whatever, they still did put time aside to do this instead of all the other things they could have done. And I feel it's an honor that I get to have the chance to perform in front of people.
Yeah.
So even though I'm not nervous or have stage fright in front of a concert or a gig, I always feel so privileged that I always remind myself, and I get that excitement that I have the opportunity to perform and to actually give them something of value that they can,
you share something you're passionate about, and sort of put that out into the world. You're making the world a better place, man.
Yeah, I try a song at a time.
Right. Now, obviously, I love music, but I also love movies.
Yeah.
Do you love movies, man?
I love movies. I'm a crime. I'm a sucker for crime movies.
You're a sucker for crime. Now, I at this current point in time, I'm a sucker for superhero movies.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this film called Doctor Strange. But first, run this Ulf Loves Movies intro.
What's the name of the segment?
Ulf Loves Movies.
Ulf Loves Movies. Ulf Loves Movies.
I love movies.
Ulf Loves Movies.
Yeah, I love movies. And obviously, I have to stress this. This is not a movie review.
No.
Because never read movie reviews, ever. Or even concert reviews. If you want to experience something, go!
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have someone else's experience.
No.
And if they had a horrible experience, that's going to sort of rub onto you.
Yeah.
And the other way around, if they say, that's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and you come there, it's like, well, this wasn't the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
No.
You need like a clean slate. You just want to go in there and have the experience.
Yeah. And it's subjective as well.
For real. For real, yeah.
Everybody else loved bacon. I didn't.
That's the next time you're on the show is gonna have like a segment which is Carl-Henrik loves bacon.
Yeah.
And we have Christopher make a song for you. It's gonna be great. The movie I saw with my oldest children the other day, because we're watching all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in like the.
I love the Marvel cinemas.
Yeah. But you had not seen this Doctor Strange film.
No.
But you're familiar with the guy because he does show up
with
in
Benedict Cumberbatch, is it?
Yes, the British guy, right? I really like this film because I like the magical spiritual stuff, and it sort of dips very much its feet into that sort of side of the pool.
Yeah.
Whereas Iron Man, dips into the more technical stuff. Doctor Strange goes like further into sort of like the place outside of time and so forth. But also with all those films, I like this. These people trying to change the world and trying to save the world, which I feel is like a nice parable to us, and sort of like. Be the best version of yourself, or sort of while at the same time it's hard, it's impossible, and it's like almost a destined to fail operation. But Doctor Strange is like a surgeon or something. He's really great with his hands.
Okay.
But he has a car accident.
Okay.
So he can't do the thing that he came here to do. There is a twist.
Okay.
Literally a twist all in the road. I think he's also watching the phone or something. Shouldn't do that, I guess. But you find yourself, you had this idea about what you want to be in life, but it changes. And then you have like this choice between sort of like letting go of the past or clinging to it. Like, but that's what my life was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And now it's not. So he gets more and more desperate to get sort of back into action, to become what he used to be, which was a great surgeon, but because his hands are ruined, he can't anymore. He is at the end of his rope, and then he goes to like Tibet, or he goes like to an ashram somewhere, because he's heard that he can find help there.
Yeah.
And I very much identify with this guy, because I feel very much in the same boat. Because, you know, I was living a very scientifically based life, and I thought like, oh, if I become the best editor in the world, then my life is going to be awesome. It didn't ruin my hands in a car accident.
No.
That did not happen. But I realized that that's not really my dream. That was someone else's dream that I thought was my dream, through sort of expectations of society and sort of like, well, you need to have a proper job or whatnot. But obviously being a talk show is way more fun.
Yeah.
Not to say that editing is not pretty awesome, but I've done it for 20 years, so maybe it's time to do something else. But he's confronted with sort of like the what's it called, the spiritual side of things.
Okay.
Which obviously, as a medical doctor, doesn't really sit well with him, because he doesn't want to be saved through something like that.
No.
And I found a clip, which I felt really like spoke to me, in terms of sort of like how you have to stay present to get the signs, you know, when people tell you to sort of open up your perspectives.
Yeah.
We can watch the clip. Let's watch the clip. I spent my last dollar getting here. One-way ticket. And you talk to me about healing through belief? You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. You've spent your whole life trying to widen that keyhole, to see more, to know more. Now, on hearing that it can be widened in ways you can't imagine, you reject the possibility. No, I reject it because I do not believe in fairy tales about chakras or energy or the power of belief. There is no such thing as spirit. We are made of matter and nothing more. You're just a tiny, momentary speck in an indifferent universe. You think too little of yourself. Oh, you think you see through me, do you? Well, you don't, but I see through you. What did you just do to me? You push your astral form out of your physical form. What was in that tea? Psilocybin? LSD? It's just tea. With a little honey. It's just tea. With a little honey. Would you like some cacao from Criollo? It's just cacao.
Just cacao.
With a little cacao in
Yeah.
it. There you go.
It would be unwise to drive home after having cacao with LSD.
I haven't tried LSD actually. Well,
me neither.
I guess that will be next episode. We'll do LSD. Where are you on the fairy tales of what is this? So it's Benedict Cumberbatch or Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Is visiting the ancient master, I think the woman is called, and she is sort of offering him to help him.
Yeah.
But only through opening his mind. Do you have a soul?
Yeah, I think so. I believe we have souls, and I wouldn't go as far as calling. I'm not a religious man.
No.
But I have figured out that I have some sort of belief, and I haven't like really gone to depth on all the different types of religion, but I think I call myself like a Christian, but
that makes sense. You grew up in this Christian country of Norway, right?
Yes, so. But I think that whenever I'm not a very outspoken religious Christian person, but whenever I get end up in a conversation talking about these things, and I'm asked, but how can you believe in religious and the God? Do you think God created the world and everything? And well, I can agree that science can explain a very logical way that the world, the universe has developed.
Yeah, this evolution, the Big Bang
evolution and the Big Bang, and it's like microorganisms and everything. But my answer to that is, well, at some point, out of nowhere, this microorganism appeared, or even though it's been like going in loops, it still at some point started from nowhere. And if that's not a miracle, then I mean, that something can start out of nowhere, turn into a microorganism, develop over millions of years into the universe and the world that we know today. That's a pretty huge miracle to me.
Yes.
And if some guy walked on the water some 1,000 years ago, that would be quite tiny
compared to this insane thing that we're in.
And that's like, so I don't, and to me that's all the answers I need. There's something bigger, and I've had plenty of experience with. I had a very, very close relationship with my grandfather, who passed away a couple of years ago, and even though I know he's not around anymore,
no,
but
this physical reality is not
still as though there's still some connection to him, and I wouldn't go as far as to say that I feel his presence at times, but I certainly like feel that same connection that I used to have, and I think in some way that would kind of explain the soul of it all.
Yes, there is something
to me
that is not your physical self.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess Dr. Strange has quite the wake-up call, because he gets quite literally thrown out of his physical self into what in Eastern terminology is like your astral body.
Yeah.
Which would be a way of saying your soul.
Yeah.
Or many ways of looking at this, I guess. And you know, I growing up in an atheist family and ridiculed religion. Like 10 years ago, I would have sort of thought, my God, how can you not see that science has all the answers?
Yeah.
And now I can't understand how I managed to be so narrow-minded.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, obviously it explains a great deal of physical things.
Yeah.
But when you, like, I've been at 4 births.
Yeah.
And it's insanely magically crazy. And you can obviously tell me the sort of like
the science
of it all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's insane.
It is.
Oh, so I have a small sperm. It's the size of nothing, and then there's an egg the size of nothing, and then here we are. And that was you, and that was me, and that was everybody. Which again is a great reminder that we are all miracles, walking around on the miracle, and so like
in the dream.
In the dream. But I obviously had a shift. It's quite similar to
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I don't have a soul. And then I was like, oh shit, turns out I do.
Yeah.
And turns out that like trying to suppress you sort of like the spiritual side of yourself, like sort of I felt there was like the parable to, you know, there's the story of there's this Christian story about this guy who says like God is not for me. He just like rejects God a couple of times, but he's sort of like swallowed by a whale in the end.
Okay.
Where he surrenders sort of like to something greater than himself, and I sort of feel the irony of sort of ridiculing God,
and
sort of rejecting God, but at the same time, then standing face to face with the divine and realizing that this is so much bigger. It's infinitely bigger than what I ever imagined it to be. So who am I to say, oh yeah, the Christians are wrong and these people are wrong and I am right?
Yeah.
It humbled me and opened up sort of doors into, I don't know, seeing things more empathically, and I guess that's what brought me on the path to doing Ramadan.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I asked to participate in prayer. I sort of hated praying, but now I see like you can surrender to something, and that there is some sense of connection to what I like to call the divine, through sort of allowing it to be there.
Yeah.
I actually think we have a clip of me doing Ramadan prayer.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
اللهم أنت السلام منك سلام تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأحوال والآفات تقضي لنا بها جميع الحاجات.
I really liked, you know, that the children was a part of it, and it was very like organic. That I didn't, because I've seen, you know, you see pictures of the people praying towards Mecca, and it's like very like it feels somewhat like serious.
Yeah, and strict and very.
And so I was. It was such a joy to see sort of like this. No, we're a family, and now this is prayer time, and this is our covenant with God. So then we thank God through prayer, and I was like, that's pretty nice. And how the children was sort of like a part of it, and it's. How are you praying, man?
No, not on a regular basis.
No,
but from time to time, if I want something to, if I feel helpless, I could turn to prayer, I guess, in some way, and or if I really root for something to happen, if I really have this really not like on a I want to perform in front of 40,000 people kind of thing, but let's say, for instance, I remember when I was expecting my first son, my first children, my first child, I suppose you say.
Your firstborn.
Yeah, my firstborn. I remember every night as I was laying in bed before falling asleep, I would pray that please let it be that tomorrow, during the next day, after I wake up, that's the day I get to meet my son for the first time.
Oh, that's a nice prayer.
So I did that every night for like the last 2 or 3 weeks before he arrived. I was so ready for it to happen. So yeah, there's those kind of moments. I guess I turn to prayer, but I don't have like the answer that there's, you know, they've painted God to be this figure with up in the sky with a white beard, almighty in the sky. But at the same, but the way I feel it is that I think to me the God that I'm praying to is representing the good force that is in within everybody.
I like that you say force, because you know I love movies, and obviously Star Wars is close to my heart. The force is in all of us.
Yeah, and the good in everybody, and the good energy that we have, and it's not. I never get an answer written down or recorded, or like I don't get an answer that way, but I feel that my prayers are answered in the way that afterwards, not necessarily at that same moment, at that same time, but afterwards I tend to feel better.
Yeah.
In those hopeless moments.
You got it sort of off your chest, right? And there is something, I never thought of that, but saying things out loud, like putting words to your thoughts is so much more powerful than just keeping it in the old nugget, because then it's just sort of the churning in sort of this echo chamber. But the moment you sort of say it out loud, even like if you sit at your office and you hate your job, if you just sit there quietly hating your job, you have a horrible time. But the moment you just, I hate my job, and then you can do something about it.
Exactly.
Because you sort of put it into words, and your surroundings actually sort of hear it. Oh, he hates his job.
Yeah.
That's not what jobs are supposed to be like. Or maybe they are. I don't know. It's I love my job.
Yeah. Yeah, I love my job as well. And but it as you say, it's so much more powerful to speak it out loud than to just keep it inside, because I think also doing that, you become so much more conscious about your own feelings.
Right.
And through getting more conscious, if you, let's say, as I said, I normally pray either when I'm really rooting for something to happen, or I really, really, really want something positive to happen.
Yeah.
Or I pray when I feel helpless. Where I feel that I don't have the answers to how do I get myself out of this situation that I'm in, that I don't feel comfortable being in. And often I feel helpless in those moments because I haven't really become conscious about what is the actual problem, what can I do to solve it, or if I can't solve it, is there another workaround or whatever. I just get so devoured by the hopelessness of it all that I don't see clearly. So turning to prayer, saying it out loud, God or wherever, please help me with this. You become conscious about, I become much more conscious about what is the actual problem here, which makes it so much easier to do something about it. And by saying it out loud, becoming more conscious about it, and having that awkward faith in that good energy that lives within us and that surrounds us, I tend to find the solutions. I often afterwards, I feel more. I feel in a state of mind that I'm able to see solutions that I wasn't able to do before.
Yeah, there's sort of like a focus shift.
Yeah,
and it sounds also very similar to like meditation, which is also sort of like an exercise to quiet the mind, to become more present, and thus sort of seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah,
and prayer is putting you in connection with sort of like the bigger thing.
Yeah,
and gives you somewhat of a perspective.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. I like that.
But I don't have I don't do night prayers every night, and I haven't taught my sons any Christian prayers or anything like that. But and also I like being in the church. It's very.
I used to hate being in churches.
Yeah.
Because I was like, churches are bullshit.
Yeah.
And the priests are just they don't believe it themselves. This is just humbug. But when I sort of reconciled and realized like they're just sort of surrendering to something bigger than themselves, I really love going to churches because the whole church is built on the foundation of just this shit is crazy, y'all. So we just surrendering to it. So we're building this gorgeous thing just to sort of remind ourselves how insanely crazy this is. And we go there just to sit sort of like in awe of the craziness of being a human being. And I like that.
Yeah.
And I've been to now I like been to churches just to sit there, just to find like peace and quiet, because that's what it's for.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says here that you're going to play a song.
Yeah.
Is this the time? Is this an appropriate moment for you to play a song?
Yeah.
It feels right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring out your guitar, man.
Let's see if we're still in tune. Yeah. So I thought I'd do My Way.
I love that song, man.
Yeah. We haven't talked about it, but I'm I mentioned it.
Your Sinatra's and your
used to be
rock and roll
black-haired rock and roller, and I'm a wannabe crooner.
No, you're a crooner now. Come on, just own it, man.
Yeah. I have to own it. Yeah. Okay, so it was written by Paul Anka, or actually it was written by some French guy. I don't remember his name, but Paul Anka translated the lyrics into...
So it's originally a French song?
It's originally a French song. I think it's Comme la détide or something.
I can see how that works in French,
And I think, and actually Paul Anka rewrote the lyrics to English to Frank Sinatra. So the lyrics are designed for Frank Sinatra.
I have to say they've done a
pretty good job,
man.
Yeah, they did. Okay, so here it goes. Not quite in tune though.
Ooh.
Okay, I guess that's okay.
That's perfect.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I state my case, of which I'm certain. I live the life that's full, and traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, I saw it through without exemptions. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. And through it all, when there was doubts, I ate it all and spit it out. Yes, I stood tall and faced it all and did it my way. I've loved I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. Yeah, 'cause what's a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way.
Damn. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's a beautiful song, and you sang it beautifully, man.
Thank you.
Put your heart in there. I felt that for you, and you sang it to me, and I love you for it. That's so great, because I needed to hear that.
It's a great song. It was, as I mentioned earlier, I had a very special relationship with my grandfather. On my mother's side, I had a great relationship with all my grandparents, but a special one with my grandfather on my mother's side, and he actually died the night before my son's baptism.
Whoa.
Or I think, or then the day before, or something like that. And his the day after his funeral, I was performing with Drammen Storband, the big band, the local big band, at a concert, and I was. My fiance at the time and my son, they flew to London just after his funeral the same day, and I was alone in my apartment, and I wasn't necessarily just sad, but emotional, filled with emotions, and so I did that concert afterwards, after the day after his funeral, and I spontaneously. The last song of the concert was My Way, and I spontaneously didn't plan it, just felt like it there and then to dedicate that song to him. And I really felt that I can relate to that lyrics, to the lyrics, and I also think that the lyrics is related to the way I saw him or see him. And so it just spontaneously came to me, felt natural that it was his funeral yesterday, and I feel like dedicating that song to him.
That's perfect, man. That's
and
perfect.
I just ended up crying through the whole song. I didn't sing that quite that much, but ever since then, that song has had a very special meaning to me, and it always has been, but especially after that one performance. But I think it's like an anthem of a life.
It is, right? But it's also, there's something so much like owning up to your life, and there's this gratitude, sort of.
Yeah.
It's laced with gratitude, because it's like everything was good, even though it was like difficult, hard. But that was me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. It's just something similar to the song It Was a Very Good Year.
Yes.
It's different perspective on life, but an old man looking back on reflecting back on the different times in his life and the women he loved at that time. But
wow,
yeah, they don't make songs like that anymore. Well, at least very rare.
Yeah, there is something different. I don't know if you could make songs like this because times have changed.
Yeah.
But then this is the gift of this non-linear life that we are living, is that you can take something that was made a long time ago, and then put it into context today.
Yeah.
At the concert after your grandfather's funeral, or here, where you gave me exactly sort of like the things, like it was an answer to my prayer about just sort of reaffirming, and I am doing what I came here to do.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was supposed to do.
You did it your way.
I'm doing it my way.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And you sang beautifully. I hope the sound wasn't shattered. None of us are audio engineers after all, so
no.
It sounded okay.
It sounded wonderful.
Oh yeah.
But from a technical perspective, it sounded okay. Yeah. Now this brings me to. It's so strange, like singing.
Yeah.
Why do people sing? And you know what I like to do?
No.
When I wonder about something, I go out and I ask my fellow dreamers about exactly that. Why do humans sing?
Because they're happy. I sing when I'm happy.
Why do they sing?
Yeah.
Because they are related to the birds, though they don't know it.
Why do humans sing?
Because it's beautiful. Yeah.
Do you sing?
No, I can't sing. That's not beautiful. But sounds and everything, you know, beautiful sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of therapy, I think.
Yeah.
Makes you feel good. Gets you in your right mood.
I like that. Do you sing?
I used to.
You also stopped with the singing?
Because I was getting old. The older you get, the worse your voice will be.
Oh, yes, but then you'll get like that nice like texture to your voice, you know. People like that. Why do humans sing?
What do you think?
Well, I'm asking you, why do you sing?
No, but I must go.
You must go, but I remember to sing and have a wonderful day. Yeah, she bounced the question back to us because she had to go, and I love this question because at first I was like, yeah, why do people sing? And then you sort of sit with it, and then it's sort of like,
but why do we do that?
Right, it evades you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why on earth do we sing? Because it doesn't really serve any immediate purpose. But every time someone sings, you're like, oh my God, that's so great. You know, children, if they just sing, and you're like, what's this beautiful stuff that's coming out of your mouth? We go to this concert just to hear, like, you go on stage and play in front of people. We just want to hear each other's, what's going on? What's going on here? This is pretty interesting. Why do we sing, man?
I think. Well, to me, it's just feels natural,
right?
And I think that some people, to some people, it doesn't come natural. Not necessarily that their voice isn't beautiful to listen to, but it doesn't feel natural to them. But I think that one thing that I found very interesting when I discovered the jazz music and got interested and into jazz music was that, you know, most jazz songs have that 4-bar beat, and the swing beat, the shuffle of the swing beat goes like dung da dung da dung. So you have the bass also always going dung da dung, and when you listen to it, what else has that same rhythm? It's your heart.
It's your heart, man.
Da-dung, da-dung. So and I think that maybe there's something in that as well, that there, when it comes to music, well, it doesn't come from the brain, it comes from the heart, because it feels it's just, to me, if I wasn't singing, I think would be too many emotions for me. I would be overwhelmed with the emotions.
Yeah.
Because I sing when I'm angry, I sing when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm in love, if I've had my heart broken. Yeah, do you sing?
I love to sing, I sing for my children,
Yeah.
I sing for my wife, I sing for my guests, and I sing on the show, of course.
Yeah.
But I remember when me and my wonderful wife got married, we decided to sing.
Okay.
Which was beautiful, but I got so emotionally overwhelmed. But that was beautiful as well.
Yeah.
I couldn't sing because it was so beautiful. The words escaped me.
Yeah. Did you sing to each other during the ceremony?
Yes.
Ceremony?
Yes. Yes, we sang to each other during the I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles.
Oh.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward.
Yeah, I sang as well to my wife.
I bet you did.
Yeah. I
You are a
sang
singer.
God Only Knows, the Beach Boys.
That's nice, man. I like that. But I've become, I think, there's this stage when you start singing where you think your voice sounds weird, especially if you record it and listen to it. So as a teenager, I loved making music, on my computer. I'd made music, but then I tried singing and I was like, this sounds strange, man. It doesn't sound, if I listen to something on the radio,
that doesn't,
this doesn't sound exactly the same.
No.
And I think it's got a lot to do with sort of for instance, when you were singing now, you were just giving it your all, right?
Yeah.
You were just sort of, from the heart, not from the mind. It was...
Yeah, but that's also, that's something that you learn, because before I was overthinking everything.
Right.
And I guess the first couple of times I heard myself during recordings, I remember one time giving away a demo or something like that to try to get a gig or something. I would apologize because but my voice didn't sound great. It sounds much better live and stuff, and. But
it's like baking a cake, and then when you serve it, it's not very good. It became dry in the middle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I think so that doesn't matter if you're an exceptional singer or if you're just quite average singer. It still sounds strange the first time,
right?
And it also sounds strange the first time you listen to yourself. I bet if you recorded a podcast for the first time and you listen to yourself talk, is that the way my voice sounds like?
That's how everyone else hears me? What?
Oh, okay, that's the last podcast I'm ever recording.
It's the end of that.
Yeah. But but to you, is singing is it emotional to you?
Oh,
Does it come from the emotion, or does it come from the idea of singing?
No, I strongly I feel like when I sing, it connects me to something.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming, and there is this melody and there are words, and it just sort of makes this strange experience.
Yeah.
So I will cry tears of joy, or I will sort of it's the more I think about this, why do we sing? Because the strange thing is it doesn't really serve any immediate purpose, right? Except sort of so your baby is crying, so maybe sort of swinging it and making some sounds will because it can hear your voice. But the most important things, culturally speaking, is very much sort of related to music. And at the same time, it's like, well, you'd want a proper job, right? You couldn't be a musician. You want to have a proper job so you can make a decent living doing something real. And it's like, but the realest things we have are things like music and dancing and like expressions, like art. And they're so vital and important to us, but at the same time, we seem to be quite oblivious to why.
Yeah.
And I dare say it's sort of like, when we're talking about it now, it feels very much like the same thing as prayer. It puts us in connection with something, right? And like, for instance, when you're there on stage, playing in front of the audience, you are connecting into something bigger than yourself, quite literally speaking, because all those people are sort of like the force. And then you're sort of speaking into the force, and the force likes the joy of sort of you using your singing voice.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that I've become very conscious about during my what do you say, development, or the way after I discovered that I wanted to perform jazz and standards and the crooning,
the way you evolved.
Evolved. And because earlier I would only focus on the technicality of not only, but I would focus very much on the technicality of singing as good as I could. I wanted the sound of my voice to be impressive, But now I tend to think that, well, if I sing the wrong note or the wrong lyrics, people don't necessarily pay attention to that, but they will pay attention to whether I'm present or not. And to me, as you said, you felt that I was singing that song to you, and that's become like the most important thing to me in the performance. It's not singing perfect, but actually, okay, what is this song about? What am I singing about? What is the story here? And why am I telling it to you? And so I've tried to relate to the song and the lyric, and I try to relate to the audience, and I try to see everyone in the audience as you and me sitting here, and I'm just telling you a story. It might be of a loved one that I've like a girlfriend that left me, and I'm happily married. But at that point, at that moment, when I'm singing that heartbroken song
puts you in connection
to you,
with.
I go immediately to that place when that girl left me, and I tell you that story through someone else's words. But I try to connect that, and I think that gives the audience, at least that's what's touching me a lot of the times when I find performances of artists like really, what do you call it in English? What's the word I'm looking for? But I think those performances, when they actually are able to tell the story, and that I believe in them, that feel the story. That's,
authenticity.
The authenticity.
You want it to be real, right? Like in a movie, I love movies, and for a movie to work, it needs to feel real. But if you've ever been to a movie set, you might have noticed that nothing of it is real. Not a single thing, because it's just make-believe. But it's real. And the same thing
when you watch it.
And if and this was, I think, there was a point in my life where I was very critical to movies. I was looking at them as like, how are the mechanics behind this device this movie, and is it working correctly, and is it a great film? And like, oh, this film is a bad film, didn't enjoy this film, this is so and so. But then I realized, like, why on earth am I reducing this wonderful experience, which is just an imagination ride, into oblivion, into sort of like checks and balances as to like, oh, did they shoot it right, and did the actors do it the way I wanted them to do it, and the script, was it to my liking? And I really love this expression, suspension of disbelief. You know, when you go into something, you have to sort of just let everything go, and then sort of just the roller coaster ride. If you want to enjoy the roller coaster ride, you just sort of get on there and then sort of just go with it. And the people who made the film had their intentions, had their ideas, and just hear them out and sort of like just go for the ride. And the same thing, you know, with music as well. Or even more particularly like art, where you really have to sort of let go of everything. But for instance, Stanley Kubrick, lovely guy. I don't know if you've seen his films, but 2001: A Space Odyssey is a great film, but it's completely inaccessible in terms of your sort of standard story. Because he's sort of like, he's going all in and going all out there, but also he refuses to talk about what he means. So you have to actually draw your own conclusion. You can't just like call Stanley's, well, what do you mean by this? And I think it's the same thing, you know, with My Way. It can mean a billion different things. Obviously some things will, because it sort of guides you in the general direction, but at the same time it sort of puts you in connection with a lot of stuff, and it's allowing sort of that experience to be there, and so it's sort of like, just there is this openness, you know, when we sort of get to that place where it's like, okay, this guy is coming on stage and he insists on playing the song with an harmonica and sort of like while running around naked. What is this experience? I'm going to have this experience and then sort of see where that takes me. You might obviously think afterwards, so it was still pretty not worthwhile, but at the same time, just like
try to,
or if you go, you know, to a foreign country and you're like there, and it's like this, the way they do things is very strange. So I'll go to McDonald's over there. So I'll get sort of like something I know about, but next door there is this beautiful place that serves food you never tasted in ways you never imagined. And it's all there. Always.
I guess I'm quite traditional in my I'm very bad at trying to pursue those different experiences. Not that I go to McDonald's if I'm in a foreign country, but it's I've had that with my family when we've been talking about where to go to for holidays and stuff. It's let's just go to Greece and that would be fine. Or if me and my wife are having a vacation together, it's like, let's just go to Rome, get some pasta and some red wine. It's perfect. I really wish that I would be more open-minded to try other cultures and try to be more just open-minded. Try bacon before I'm 22 and
the bacon story does have a lot to offer, and even though I don't miss bacon, turns out you can grill this cheese. It's called halloumi cheese, and it tastes virtually like bacon. No, but it tastes really good. But it has that salty, you know. I haven't had bacon in a very long time.
No.
I am a flexitarian though, so I will eat. If I come to your place and you serve me dates with bacon wrapped around it, I would probably eat it because I am very curious of nature, as you might have guessed by now. Even though I would probably not make it myself. But it is something to that, right? Life is an adventure to be had.
Yeah.
But the only way to have an adventure is outside the comfort zone.
Yes.
Because and I love Joseph Campbell, who speaks of the myth of the hero's mythical journey. And the journey always starts with the hero leaving the village. You're in the Shire, you're Frodo.
Yeah.
In the Shire, everything is safe, you have food, everything is great. But there's adventure is sort of like knocking at the door.
Yeah.
And you're like, do I want to go on an adventure? Everything's fine here. But at the same time, the world is ending if you don't go on an adventure. And it's true. Because if you don't adventure in your life becomes meaningless.
Yeah.
And thus it eventually just dies. Well, it doesn't, no matter what you try, it will end. And while you're here, go on adventures. And it can be really small, right?
Yeah.
You can, like you said, it can be sort of like just, do I want to go to Sweden or do I want to go to someplace I've never been?
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens if I go someplace I've never been? You experience something you never experienced before. And it's, I find that so fascinating that it's sort of like adventure is so accessible, but at the same time we feel like, nothing's happening, so I have to watch a movie so something exciting will happen in my life. But if you pay attention, there are things happening. And there are people telling you, maybe you can be a crooner instead of a hard rocker, and then all of a sudden...
The last year has been quite adventureless.
But isn't it so absurd? Because, we haven't done anything for a year.
No.
Like, quite literally speaking, we haven't gone anywhere.
No.
And nothing's been happening. So
just to be here this is an adventure. Because I literally haven't left the house for almost 6 months, or if I wasn't going to this grocery store.
Yeah, right.
Or to go on a ski workout session or to pick up my kids. I haven't spoken to other
This is my gift to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. But then again, the nice thing about the plague is it offers an invitation to obviously travel inwards.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of insight and knowledge in this vessel of ours.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much up here.
No.
But like
experience.
Yeah. But yeah. Wow. Song became so much more magical now.
Yeah.
Because it's not a means to an end.
No.
It just is.
Yeah.
Right? Wow. Do you feel, I feel like we sort of, something sort of landed very comfortably here in a beautiful place of adventure and song. I typically, no, the iPad is not there. It's here. I searched the internet far and wide for a quote.
For a quote, yeah.
That I find sort of works well with tonight's episode.
Okay.
I like to do that.
Yeah.
With my daughter's iPad. Because quotes, are great, and then it offers, I guess, perspective, right?
Yeah.
And the internet's full of them. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. I guess everything's on the internet now. This is a good one, I think. I would like you to read tonight's quote.
Okay.
You can read it into that camera if you like.
Into that camera?
Yes.
All of it, yeah?
All of it.
Okay, so... If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Yeah.
MJ. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I actually tried to learn my son how to moonwalk the other day.
Damn, I tried to learn myself how to moonwalk the other day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think no one can do it as MJ though.
No.
It's just something about sort of like... he just nailed it to an extent where it seems like you're just...
Well, he invented it.
Right? That sort of makes him the owner of it. That's true.
Yeah.
It's just something when you talk about your life's journey and you are sort of like the guy making the changes.
You are the change.
And also sort of owning up to that. And it's so easy, you know, to be like, well, I wish the world would change so I would be comfortable.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, exactly. You're right.
I like that. Yeah. Be the change.
Be the change.
Oh my God, thank you for singing so beautifully. Can you come every Thursday and be
Yeah.
my studio audience? That would be great. No, I have to improve my guitar skills, and that is through, you know, playing the guitar.
Yeah, my first couple of songs was pretty bad, but I started when I was 9, and I guess they say that you learn things quicker when you're a child than...
Yes. I'm going to tell you a secret now as to why that's the case.
Yeah?
It's because children, their imagination is wide open.
Yeah.
So they'll sort of just, any information, they'll sort of just, well, this I'll take.
Let it
put
come
in my
to you,
backpack.
yeah.
Now we adults, we have figured out a neat way to prevent that. It's called worrying.
Yeah.
So we worry, and through worrying, we are unable to learn things because we are so preoccupied with worrying. That's my perspective of the thing. That's my 2 cents. Because if you stop worrying, then you're kind of like, oh, obviously I can learn to play the guitar because I'm not worrying about paying my bills or whether or not the car will pass the EU control. I'm just playing the guitar.
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Yes,
Because there's a lot of static.
And I haven't really improved my playing for many years, but I've improved other things in my musicality.
What?
Through playing.
Obviously, I haven't heard you, except I watched some YouTube clips of you playing, which was beautiful. But having you here live with me, I have to say, that was fucking awesome, man.
Thanks.
And as we are, and this is the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.
And from the bottom of my heart, which is bottomless, by the way, I love you, man.
Thanks. Right back at you.
And looking forward to the next time. When I get better, we'll start jamming, I guess. That's always been a dream of mine, and I am a dreamer, and we are dreamers after all. Markus, I love you, man. It's so great to have you here in the basement with me, and to all my viewers, I love you guys. And if you, for some strange reason, think, oh, I like this this project of this guy, Wolf Thunder Flitty, then you can become a Patreon. At patreon.com/The WakeUp Show, where you can support the show, and if you support it there's like one tier where you get this cool coffee mug, which I have now called a cacao mug because that's what I put up in there. And then if you like cacao, go to Criollo, a place for great cacao. Woo! I'm gonna play a song which I felt was like a different perspective on the. It is my favorite song, and it's the song I've rehearsed the most on the guitar. And as you played so wonderfully, I thought I should give you my best. And and this, I love this song because it's got some of the fabric of my way, I guess. I realized when you played it. Yeah. And tune in next week when it's Eid. It's like the end of Ramadan. I never tried that before. A feast. Okay. When my body won't hold me anymore, and it finally sets me free. Will I be ready? When my feet won't walk another mile, and my lips give their last kiss goodbye, will my hands be steady? Will I lay down my fears, my hopes and my doubts, the rings on my fingers and the keys to my house, with no hard feelings? When the sun hangs low in the west, and the light in my chest, it won't be kept, held at bay any longer. When jealousy fades away, and it's ash and dust for cash and lust, and it's just hallelujah. And love in thought, love in the word, love in the songs they sing in the church, and no hard feelings. Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone, kept me afraid and cold, with so much to have and hold. When my body won't hold me anymore, and it finally sets me free, where will I go? Will the trade winds take me south, through Georgia grain, tropical rain, or snow from the heavens? Will I join with the ocean blue, or run into my Savior true, and we'll shake hands laughing, and walk through the night, straight for the light, holding the love I known all my life, with no hard feelings. Lord knows they haven't done much good for anyone, kept me afraid and cold, with so much to have and hold. Under the curving sky, I'm finally learning why it matters for me and you to say it and mean it too, for life and its loveliness and all of its ugliness, good as it's been to me, I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies.
Beautiful.